A $150 problem can quietly turn into a $3,500 disaster. If you are an average American living paycheck to paycheck, this is exactly how you stay poor. It starts with something small. A warning light on your dashboard. The check engine light. For someone with money, it's nothing. They fix it, forget it, move on. But when you don't have that safety net, $150 isn't small. It's a decision. So you wait. You ignore it. You hope it lasts just a little longer. But time doesn't care about your situation. A few months later, on a cold morning, your engine gives out completely. Now you're not looking at $150 anymore. You're looking at $30,500. You can't pay it. The towing company takes the vehicle. Because you lost the car, you can no longer commute to your job. Because you cannot show up to work, you are replaced. Because you lost your job, you miss your next rent payment. Within a span of 30 days, the entire fragile architecture of your life is completely dismantled. And here is the darkest, most unsettling part of this entire sequence. This collapse didn't happen because you were inherently lazy. It didn't happen because you made a massive, unforgivable moral failure. You lost everything simply because you could not afford to fix a small problem when it was small. Welcome to the poverty trap, the hidden penalty of the modern American financial system. Society loves a good victim-blaming story. The media, the elites, and endless self-help gurus will tell you that poverty is a character flaw. They will write best-selling books, telling you that you are broke because you buy avocado toast, because you drink Starbucks, or because you just aren't manifesting your dreams hard enough. This is a brilliant, meticulously crafted lie. It is a fairy tale designed by those at the top to keep you entirely blind to the actual mechanics of the machine. Poverty is not a personality trait. Poverty is a mathematical law of gravity. It is an intricate, multi-layered system designed to extract wealth from the bottom and funnel it to the top. Today, we are opening the archives to show you the exact blueprint of this machine. There are 5 specific interconnected loops designed to keep you broke. If you are struggling financially, you are currently stuck in at least one of these loops. Let's break them down. There is a famous socioeconomic concept known as the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. It goes like this. A rich man buys a premium, high-quality pair of winter boots for $200. Because they are built to last with superior materials, he wears those same boots for 10 years. His total cost over a decade is $200. A poor man cannot afford the $200 upfront cost. He only has $40 to his name. So, he buys a cheap, poorly made pair of boots. Within a year, the thin soles crack, the cold water leaks in, and his feet are freezing. Next winter, he has to buy another $40 pair just to survive the snow. Over the course of 10 years, the poor man buys 10 pairs of cheap boots. He spends $400 in total. The poor man has paid double the amount of the rich man, and his feet have been wet for a decade. This is the scarcity tax. It is the literal, calculable financial cost of not having capital. When you don't have money, everything becomes significantly more expensive. If you buy groceries in bulk, they are cheap. If you can only afford to buy them day by day at the corner store, you pay a massive premium. But it gets much darker and much more sinister when you look at the banking system. If a wealthy person's bank account drops, nothing happens. If your bank account drops below zero because you bought a $5 sandwich to survive the afternoon, the bank hits you with a $35 overdraft fee. Think about the pure, predatory madness of that concept for a second. Wall Street megabanks actively penalize you for not having money by taking more of the money you already do not have. American banks generated billions of dollars in revenue last year entirely by extracting fees from the poorest people in society who had zero balances. They are literally taxing your poverty, and this constant, crushing pressure leads to a biological consequence. A famous, groundbreaking study conducted by Harvard University researchers found that the constant mental burden of financial stress, worrying about rent, calculating grocery bills, avoiding phone calls from aggressive debt collectors, consumes so much of your mental bandwidth that it actively drops your effective IQ by 13 points. That is the equivalent of losing an entire night of sleep, permanently. You are not stupid. You are not inherently incapable of building wealth. Your brain is simply hijacked by the panic of immediate survival. You cannot strategize a 5-year investment plan when you are terrified of how you will survive the next 5 days. Your horizon shrinks. And when your horizon shrinks, you fall directly into loop number 2, the dopamine trap. When your reality is a constant state of anxiety, exhaustion, and pain, your brain begs for an escape. It demands relief. It demands dopamine. Corporate America understands human psychology better than you understand yourself, and they weaponize your exhaustion against you. After a brutal 60-hour work week, dealing with a disrespectful boss and a stack of unpaid bills, you do not have the mental energy to read a book on financial literacy. You do not have the willpower to sit down and build a side business. You just want the pain to stop. You just want to feel good, even if it is only for 5 minutes. So, what do? You swipe your credit card for a new iPhone you don't need. You finance a car that is entirely outside your budget just to feel respected at red lights. You use buy now, pay later apps to purchase designer clothes to impress people you don't even like. You look at poor neighborhoods and wonder why there are so many luxury items, massive televisions, and expensive sneakers. It is not stupidity. It is self-medication. You are trading 20 years of your financial freedom for 20 minutes of a dopamine rush. The system sells you the illusion of wealth, the temporary comfort of a shiny object, in exchange for your permanent financial slavery. You are trying to medicate the pain of poverty with the exact poison that is keeping you poor. When people finally wake up from the dopamine trap, they usually make a logical but fatal decision. They decide to just work harder. They take on double shifts. They grind for overtime. The linear income trap. This is the silent, slow-moving killer of the working class. If you trade your time for an hourly wage or a fixed salary, you are playing a game that is mathematically rigged against you. Time is the only truly finite asset in the entire universe. You only have 24 hours in a day. If your income is directly tied to the physical hours you work, there is a hard, unbreakable ceiling on your life. You cannot scale yourself, but it gets worse, because while your time is finite, the system's ability to print money is infinite. While you are breaking your back, trading your precious hours for a 3% annual raise from your corporate boss, the silent thief known as inflation is destroying your purchasing power by 8%. The cost of housing, food, and energy accelerates faster than your paycheck ever will. You are working harder and harder every single year just to stay in the exact same place. You are running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up, controlled by someone else who can unplug it at any moment. The wealthy do not trade time for money. They decouple their income from their physical labor. They own assets, businesses, real estate, equities, that produce value while they sleep. If you are only selling your time, you are destined to be priced out of existence. When you finally realize that the linear income trap is a dead end, you might try to change your life. You might try to start a business. You might try to learn high-income skills. You attempt to climb out of the hole. And that is exactly when you are hit by loop number 4. Social gravity, also known as the crab bucket mentality. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it will easily climb out and escape. But if you put a dozen crabs in a bucket, the moment one crab reaches the rim and tries to pull itself to freedom, the other crabs will reach up, grab it, and pull it back down into the pile. Your social circle operates the exact same way. When you start trying to escape the poverty trap, the people around you, your friends, your co-workers, sometimes even your own family, will become uncomfortable. They will mock your ambitions. They will tell you that your business idea is a scam. They will invite you out to drink on a Friday night and call you obsessed or boring when you choose to stay home and work. They will pull you down, not necessarily because they hate you, but because your desire to escape reminds them of their own failure to try. Your ambition highlights their complacency. To achieve escape velocity, you often have to leave the atmosphere alone. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, isolated, and criticized by people who are actively choosing to stay broke. And if you somehow survive the scarcity tax, if you resist the dopamine trap, if you break the linear income model, and if you fight off social gravity, you must face the final boss of the financial system. The compound void. Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." This is the ultimate insurmountable wall that separates the global elite from the working class. The system is designed so that capital multiplies itself. When the wealthy invest their money, it earns interest. Then that interest earns interest. It creates an exponential snowball of wealth that requires zero physical effort. But for the poor, compound interest is reversed. It becomes a black hole. Because of the scarcity tax and the dopamine trap, the broke individual relies on credit cards and high-interest loans just to survive emergencies. When you carry a balance on a credit card at 29% interest, you are experiencing the destructive power of the compound void. Your debt snowballs exponentially. Every time you pay a late fee, every time you pay a minimum balance, you transfer your life energy directly into the portfolios of Wall Street investors. One group's money works for them. The other group works for the money. You are literally funding their early retirements with your overdraft fees and credit card interest. Poverty is not a permanent state. It is not a genetic destiny, but it is a perfectly engineered mathematical trap. The system profits from your ignorance. It needs you to be tired. It needs you to be distracted by cheap dopamine. And it needs you to remain financially illiterate so you keep turning the gears of their machine. To escape, you must achieve escape velocity. You must recognize the check engine light when it turns on, and understand the true cost of ignoring it. You must stop trying to numb your pain by buying things you cannot afford to impress people you do not like. You must drastically sever your income from your time. And you must protect your mindset from the gravity of the people who secretly want you to fail. You must stop playing their game by their rules. Welcome to the archives. The system is built on secrets, and our mission is to leak them. Subscribe and never pay the hidden cost again.